Welcome to The Explainer. So let's talk about a mystery that a lot of us have probably wondered about. Why do so many smart people and so many promising businesses end up failing? Is it just bad luck? Maybe a bad strategy? Or could the real culprit be hiding somewhere we'd never even think to look? Like inside our own minds?
All right, so to crack this case, let's start by investigating the scene of the crime. And when you look at the evidence, the actual numbers, it paints it's a pretty grim picture for new ventures.
Okay, check this out. In South Africa, a staggering 2/3 of small businesses fail within just 5 years. And listen, this isn't just happening there. We see similar patterns in economies all over the globe. So this isn't just a handful of bad ideas flopping. It's something bigger, something systemic. The real question is, what is it?
You know, there's one theory out there that's pretty harsh. It basically says failure is a choice, that people fail because they choose to be ignorant. But what if it's not that simple? What if the problem is actually deeper? What if the real culprit isn't a choice at all, but a dangerous blind spot we don't even know we have?
And that brings us to our first major clue. It's this absolutely fascinating psychological phenomenon, one that explains exactly how smart, capable people can charge full steam ahead, totally unaware of the exact weaknesses that are about to bring everything crashing down.
So let's go back to that question. Is being ignorant really a choice? Or is it possible to be ignorant of your own ignorance? It sounds like a riddle, right? But the answer lies in this really powerful cognitive bias called the Dunning-Kruger Effect.
Okay, so here's the crazy thing about the Dunning-Kruger Effect. It basically says that the people with the least amount of skill in something are often the most confident about it. It's not just that they don't know something, they don't know enough to even realize they don't know it. It's like their own incompetence creates this perfect blind spot that hides itself.
And you can imagine, in the business world, this is a recipe for disaster. It creates leaders who think they know everything, who won't listen to feedback, and who are terrible communicators. And the worst part, they can grind a whole company to a halt, all because they're completely blind to their own shortcomings. But get this, the Dunning-Kruger effect, it's not a lone wolf. Nope. It turns out it's just one accomplice in a whole gang of these little mental shortcuts, or you could call them glitches, that our brains use every single day just to get by.
And when scientists started mapping these mental shortcuts, they found something really interesting. You see this term, cognitive bias? It's not just one isolated thing. It's like the central hub of a giant spiderweb, connected to everything from how we take risks to how we make decisions, even to how we approach entrepreneurship. It's this huge, interconnected network of, faulty wiring in our brains.
So what is a cognitive bias, really? Think of it like this. Your brain is trying to save energy, so it creates these little shortcuts to deal with all the information flying at you. It's like putting your brain on autopilot. And a lot of the time, that's super helpful. But sometimes, these shortcuts lead to big systematic errors in how we think. And nobody's immune. These glitches affect everyone, from a total newbie to a seasoned pro.
And yeah, I'm not kidding when I say everyone. It's not just a problem for startups. These little mental glitches are so powerful, they can trip up even the most experienced professionals. We're talking people in some of the highest stakes fields you can possibly imagine.
All right, first up, let's talk about a big one. The overconfidence bias. It's pretty much what it sounds like. It's our natural tendency to think we're smarter, better, and more skilled than we actually are. In fact, you can think of the Dunning-Kruger effect we just talked about as a really extreme version of this.
And if you want a jaw-dropping example, look at this. A study asked a bunch of top chief financial officers, these are the experts, right, to predict stock market returns. They were asked to be 80% confident in their answers. Well, in reality, they were only right 36% of the time. I mean, wow, that's a massive gap between how good they thought they were and how good they actually were, all thanks to overconfidence. Okay, next on our list of culprits, the anchoring bias. You ever notice how the first price you see for something kind of sticks in your head? That's anchoring. It's our brain's habit of latching onto the very first piece of information it gets and using that as a reference point, an anchor, for everything that comes after.
And this bias is powerful enough to influence even expert judges. Seriously, in one study they gave experienced judges the exact same case file. The only difference? The initial sentence the prosecutor asked for. When the prosecutor anchored them with a high demand, 34 months, the judge's average sentence was over 24 months. But when the anchor was low, the average sentence plummeted to under 18. Think about that. That is a huge difference for the very same crime, all because of that first number they heard.
So, okay, if even seasoned experts can get tripped up by these hidden forces in our minds, what hope is there for the rest of us, right? How do we fight back so we don't become just another statistic? Well, the good news is we absolutely can. And it all starts with learning how to become a detective of your own mind.
The number one tool in our detective kit is something called metacognition. It sounds complicated, but it's really not. It's just the ability to think about your own thinking, to kind of step outside yourself, observe your own thought process, and ask, wait a minute, why do I think that? It's the absolute foundation of self-awareness.
So how do you build that self-awareness muscle? Well, here are 3 really practical things you can start doing right away. Number 1, go out and constantly seek honest feedback. Ask people to tell you the truth. Number 2, use tools like 360-degree reviews. This lets you get anonymous and usually much more honest input from your coworkers. And number 3, start a decision journal. Seriously, write down your big decisions, what you think will happen, and then go back and check the results. It gives you cold, hard data on how good your judgment really is.
When you boil it all down, the most powerful weapon we have against all these mental biases is something called intellectual humility. It's that ancient wisdom from Socrates, right? The only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing. It's just that simple, powerful idea that, hey, you don't have all the answers, and there's always more to learn.
And so that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Now that you know about these hidden culprits, these biases and blind spots that are running in the background of your mind all the time, what's the first thing you're going to investigate in your own thinking? What's that one obvious truth you believe that might just be your biggest blind spot?